Welcome to another video tutorial on disinfection. Okay, let's get started. Disinfection. It may be defined as cleaning of some or all of the pathogenic organisms which may cause infection by destruction or removal of all pathogenic organisms, or it is a removal of microorganism to a level which is no more harmful, used to kill microorganisms on inanimate object. Okay, so yes, I can tell disinfection is a method of killing or inhibiting the growth of organisms to such a level which is no more harmful. So that means bringing down the number of microorganisms to such a level that they can no more cause any diseases to us. Okay, so that's called as disinfection. So now let's study some of the important definitions or terms related to disinfection. So the first one is antisepsis. So here, as the name tells, anti means against. So sepsis means it is decay or infection. So putting it together, I can tell it is against infection. Okay, and then I can define this as chemical destruction of vegetative pathogens on living tissues. Okay, yes, it is a method in which chemicals are used to kill the vegetative pathogens. Okay, so vegetative pathogens means yes, so antiseptics, no, they cannot mostly kill the spores, so they only target on the vegetative state of the bacteria. And so this antiseptics, no, they are mostly used on the living tissues. So example is hand sanitizers. Okay, and one more example is using hydrogen peroxide or iodine solution on cuts, abrasions, burns. Okay, this is another example. And then antiseptics are also used in the dental procedures. So that is after dental procedures, certain mouthwashes are given, so which contains antiseptics like chlorhexidine. So these prevent infection. Okay, and apart from that, antiseptic solutions may also be used on the mucous membranes to clean mucous membranes. So before medical procedures such as catheterization. So all these are antiseptics. We are using the chemicals on the living tissues here, right? So these all are the examples for antiseptics and antisepsis. Okay, and then the next word is degerming. So it is mechanical removal of microbial or microbes from limited area. Okay. Okay, so this is again a method of removing microbes from a limited area. Okay, so and why do we call here mechanical removal is because this process includes scrubbing. Okay, and chemical action also. So it requires that means you have to use certain chemicals and you have to use the mechanical support like scrubbing. So that's the reason we call it as mechanical removal of microbes from limited area. So example is nothing but hand washing is one of the typical example. Okay, and then sanitizers is example, using alcohol based sanitizers, and then wiping the skin with an alcohol swab before an injection. All these are examples for degerming. Okay, so next is sanitization. So sanitization means it is lowering microbial counts on eating and drinking utensils to a safe level. Yes, sanitization is mainly killing or removing the microorganisms on eating and drinking utensils. Okay, example is okay. So example is dishwasher. So dishwasher will use it on the kitchen appliances so that if there is some microorganisms present, so it has to be killed or the growth has to be inhibited. Okay, so using a dishwasher to sanitize dishes, and then using a bleach solution to sanitize surfaces. Okay, or using a sanitizing spray on a high touch areas. So all these are example for sanitization. Okay, and then the next word is biocide or germicide. So it kills microorganisms. Okay, okay, so that means here both biocide and germicide kills microorganisms. So they can kill or they can inhibit the microorganism. So but they differ in their application and scope. So to be more precise, I can tell that germicides are the subset of biocides. Okay, so and they specifically target disease causing microbes or microorganisms. Whereas biocides, no, they have a broader definition. So they encompass a wide range of substances that control and destroy various living organisms like pests, other biological agents, etc. Okay, and then next is fungicides. So it kills the fungus or fungi. Yes. Okay, so that means here fungicides are the one which kills the fungi. So example is the chemicals which is used to control the fungal diseases in plants and other organisms. So example is neem oil, rosemary oil, okay, and various other synthetic compounds. So they are mostly used to control the fungal diseases. Fine. And then next is viruside. As the name tells here, it inactivates the viruses. Okay. Example is most of the antiseptics, most of the disinfectants, and antiviral drugs. So all these inactivates the viruses. Okay, next is bacteriostatic. Agents stop the growth of bacteria. Okay, example for bacteriostatic is a class of medications used to manage and treat various bacterial infections like tetracyclines, doxycyclines, okay, etc. And here static means, as the name tells here, bacterio means it is bacteria. Static means it stops the growth of the bacteria. Okay, whereas previously we studied cidal means killing, static means it stops the growth of the bacteria. So all these are important definitions or terms. Okay, so whereas next we will study what all are the chemicals used for disinfectants. Okay, so now which chemical can be used for what purpose, so we'll study them one by one. So yeah, so first let me list the chemicals which can be used for disinfectants. Okay, so first is alcohols. So under alcohol, ethyl, isopropyl and methyl alcohol can be used. And then next is aldehydes, formaldehydes and glutaraldehyde. And then many dyes can be used, halogens, phenols. Okay. So next is surface active agents, metallic agents and gases like ethylene oxide, formaldehyde, etc. Okay, so all these chemicals can be used for disinfection. Okay, and we can group all these chemicals into 3 levels. Okay, so those are high level, intermediate level and low level. Okay, so now what is high level? It kills all the organisms except high number of spores, prions, etc. Example is aldehyde, ethylene dioxide, etc. Okay, so as the name tells here, so these are high level disinfection. That means it can kill almost all the microorganisms. So except for high number of spores. If the spores are in a greater number, so then it cannot kill, and it cannot kill prions. Now what are these prions? Prions are misfolded proteins that can induce misfolding in normal proteins, leading to a range of diseases in both humans and animals. Okay. Whereas next is intermediate disinfectors, that is, so as the name tells here, so they fall in a medium category. So that means they can kill mycobacteria, they can kill viruses, bacteria, fungi, but they cannot kill the spores. Okay, so here why we are mentioning mycobacteria separately is because so they have a unique cell wall structure. Okay, and they are very difficult to kill, and so they also can form biofilms and they can persist various states, and that's the reason we have mentioned it separately. And mycobacterium is the bacteria which causes tuberculosis. Okay, and then example for this is iodine, ethanol and chlorine. And then next is low level disinfection. So they kill some viruses and bacteria but not mycobacteria spores. Yes, they can kill viruses, they can kill bacteria, but they cannot kill the mycobacterial spores. Example is quaternary ammonium compounds. Okay, so now let us study in detail about the chemicals which are used for disinfection. So first is alcohols. So under that mainly we use ethyl alcohol, methyl alcohol and isopropyl alcohol. So these are bactericidal. So cidal, as I told, they can kill. They can kill bacteria, so they can kill fungus, they can kill virus, and they're also tuberculocidal. That means they can also kill the mycobacterium, that is mycobacteria which causes tuberculosis. Okay, so but they cannot act on spores, and the optimal concentration which is used is 60 to 90%. Optimal concentration means it is a most favorable concentration. Okay, so which can be used for a specific purpose or application. So here in case of alcohols it is 60 to 90%. And then ethyl alcohol, no, when it is taken in 60 to 80%, it can also kill viruses. That is, it is virucidal and it kills almost all lipophilic viruses and hydrophilic viruses. So here lipophilic means so these are viruses that have a lipid envelope around the protein capsid. Okay, and they do not attract water. So whereas hydrophilic viruses means they attract water, they are non-enveloped and they do not have a lipid envelope. So it can kill both these are fungus. So they can kill fungi. And then 20% isopropanol is used for killed cysts of acanthamoeba. Yes, so they can also kill amoeba. So yes, it is a protozoan. So it can cause infection. So this also can be killed by using 20% isopropanol. Okay, and the next group of chemicals is aldehydes. So under aldehyde we can use formaldehyde, glutaraldehyde, orthothalaldehyde. Okay, so in that especially formaldehyde, no, they are bactericidal. They can kill bacteria, so they can kill spores, they can kill viruses. And formaldehyde is also used to preserve specimens. I think most of you would have seen that. So most of the specimen, plant specimen and human organ specimens, so and all will be preserved by using formaldehyde. And so they're also used for destroying anthrax spores in hair and wool. So yes, anthrax is actually a cattle disease, so which affects the animals. So anthrax spores will usually be present in the hairs and wool of the affected animals, so they can also kill them, they can also destroy the spores. And then 10% formalin containing 0.5% sodium tetraborate is used to clean metal instruments. Yes, so 10% formalin, so which also contains 5% sodium tetraborate, is used to clean the metal instruments. Okay, next. Okay, next is glutaraldehyde, high level disinfectant and chemical sterilant. So yes, that means it can kill almost all the microorganisms. And in aqueous solution, not sporicidal, if activated by using alkalizing agents to change the pH to 7.5 to 8.5, becomes sporicidal. So yes, that means, so when it is an aqueous solution, means if it is mixed with water or is a solution in which solvent is a water, so then it cannot kill the spores. Okay, so but when you increase the pH to 7.5 to 8.5 by using alkalizing agents, so they can kill the spores. Okay, so and then next is orthothalaldehyde. So this is also a high level disinfectant. They are better and they are superior than glutaraldehyde because they have excellent stability over wide range of pH, because they have a stability in their pH. Okay, and so they do not want any activation also like that of glutaraldehyde. Okay, and then next is dyes. Aniline dyes like brilliant green, malachite green, crystal violet, yes, they can also be used as a disinfectant and they are more active against gram positive bacteria. Okay, and then they are non-toxic. Okay, and then they are inactivated by organic materials like pus. So that means now so they can organic materials like pus can affect the activity of the aniline dyes. So why? Because these organic matter, they interfere with the dye's ability to interact with bacterial cell walls, so hence they get inactivated. Okay, and apart from that we have acridine dyes like proflavin, acroflavin, euflavin, aminacrin. So all these are active against the gram positive bacteria. Okay, and then next is chlorine. Yes, chlorine also can be used as a disinfectant. So used as chlorine tablets for disinfection in water. Yes, we use chlorine in the form of tablets and mainly we use them to disinfect water. Okay, and sodium hypochlorite for disinfection of equipment soiled with blood. Then next is iodine. Then iodine is more sporicidal than chlorine. That means it can kill spores easily when compared to chlorine. And then it is used in aqueous and alcoholic solutions as skin disinfectant. It's used for skin. And then next is phenols. So phenol was initially used by Lister as a germicide in his pioneering work on antiseptic surgery. Yes, Joseph Lister, so beginning when he found that the bacteria can cause infection. And so because of infection, when people are dying, so he first used this phenols only as an antiseptic, so to kill the organisms surrounding the wounds. Okay, and then it is active against bacteria, it can kill mycobacteria, and it can also kill a small amount of endospores. Okay, and it can kill viruses, and it is useful to disinfect environmental surfaces. Yes. Okay, so that means environmental surfaces means it can include surfaces like floors, walls, furnitures, medical equipments, okay, door knobs, light switches, and all those things. Okay, then. Okay, so next is surface active agents, as the name tells. So it alters the surface tension or interfacial tension here. Okay, see here, substances that alters the energy relationship at interfaces, producing a reduction of surface or interfacial tension. So yes, here, so it mainly affects the energy relationship between the interfaces. Okay, so and hence it reduces the surface tension, so hence we call it as surface active agents. Classification, that is, there may be anionic, it may be cationic, it may be non-ionic or amphoteric agents. Okay, and then we also you can use metallic salts. Like most widely used metallic salts are mercury, silver, and copper. It acts microbially by combining with the cellular proteins. So it interferes with the cellular protein and it affects. And then next is gases like ethylene oxide can be used, so widely used for re-sterilizing packaged heat sensitive devices. Okay, so we mainly use it for heat sensitive devices like what, like sharp knives, blades. It is non corrosive and safe for most plastic and polyethylene materials. Okay, yes, we can also use it for plastics very easily. And then next gas is hydrogen peroxide. So these are bactericidal and virucidal, that is they can kill bacteria and virus when they're exposed for 1 minute. Okay, so if they're exposed for about 5 minutes, it can also kill spores and fungus. And apart from that, it is used to disinfect soft contact lenses, and it is used for disinfecting tonometer. So tonometer is nothing but it's a medical instrument used to measure the pressure inside the eye. Okay, it is also called as intraocular pressure. So we also use for disinfecting that. We use for disinfecting biprisms, ventilators, fabrics, endospores, etc. Okay, then. Okay, so next is formaldehyde fumigation. So yes, it's a method of sterilization, so that uses formaldehyde gas to kill microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, and their spores. So in this fumigation, so it is commonly used to disinfect operating rooms, that is operation theaters, and biological safety cabinets. Okay, and it is also used in laboratories, and it is also used in areas which requires a high level of sterility. Okay, so in this process, no, we mainly use formaldehyde solution, okay, and ammonia. So let us study in detail the procedure of formaldehyde fumigation. How do we do that? Okay, so commonly used to sterilize the OT. Yes, as I told, so it's mostly used in operation theaters. It is used in laboratories. It is used in biological safety cabinets or other areas which require high level of sterility. And what all we require to perform fumigation is for an area of 1000 cubic feet. So you require 500 ml of 40% formaldehyde in 1 liter of water, and stove or hot plate for heating formalin, and then 300 ml of 10% ammonia. So this is what is required. So now what is the procedure you need to follow is close all doors and windows airtight and switch off fans and AC. Okay, so you and these precautions and procedure has to be followed accurately, because formaldehyde can cause irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, even at the low levels of for short period. Okay, so and longer exposure or higher doses can cause coughing or choking. So hence, uh, proper precautions has to be followed here. So first you need to close all the doors, windows airtight, and then you have to switch off all the fans and AC, and then heat formalin solution till boiling overnight. Okay, so that is, yes, you need to heat the formalin solution till boiling throughout, that is overnight. Or so we can even practice a safer method. Okay, and the most safer and controlled method involves using an electric evaporator. Okay, so this evaporator will actually vaporize the formaldehyde which is in a solid form. Okay, so or a specific amount of formaldehyde solution in a measured space with proper ventilation and safety precautions also can be used. Okay, so once so this is done, you leave the OT unentered overnight. Okay, so now yes, the formaldehyde vapors have been released. Since they're toxic, you need to close them, you need to shut them, and you should not enter the OT or the operation or the laboratory overnight. Okay, and enter the OT next day morning with 300 ml of ammonia. So yes, next day morning you need to enter the place, enclosed place with a 300 ml of ammonia. Okay, and then okay, so keep the ammonia solution for 2 to 3 hours to neutralize formalin vapors. So yes, so ammonia solution, no, it can neutralize the formalin vapors completely. So you can keep the ammonia solution for about 2 to 3 hours so that the formalin vapors are completely neutralized. So once it is neutralized, now you can open the OT or you can open the laboratory, you can start with the procedure. So and then so this fumigation, no, so it is recommended on the weekly intervals, because so the environment of the laboratory or the OT has to be sterile, and that's the reason to kill microorganisms. So this is generally followed on the weekly intervals. Okay, and examples for commercially available disinfectant is bacillocid racent, aldicol, etc. Okay.